for Saturday's Osun State governorship election. The force Public Relations Officer CSP Aneti Nedu said a Deputy Inspector General of Police will coordinate the security operations across the state. A police helicopter and drone unit have also been deployed for surveillance. To NDLEA now, the chairman and executive officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Mohammed Marwa, has declared that the fight against illicit drugs remains relentless and must be sustained as a generational responsibility. Marwa made the declaration in Abuja at a ceremony where more than 200 NDLEA officers and key stakeholders were recognized for outstanding performance in the fight against drug trafficking and substance abuse. Nafisa Baba has the details.
The NDLEA chairman, Brigadier General Marwa, retired, said the agency cannot afford to declare victory in the war against illicit drugs, as dismantled cartels could be replaced by new ones and closed trafficking routes could give rise to alternative corridors. He said the agency's responsibility is to remain vigilant and continue disrupting drug network while protecting communities from the devastating effects of substance abuse. The agency's chairman commended officers, informants, and other stakeholders whose efforts contributed to the successes, noting that many of the operations were carried out without public attention.
For every cartel we dismantle, intelligence tells us another will attempt to rise. For every corridor we shut down, traffickers will search for another route. Our task, therefore, is not to declare victory. It is to remain relentless.
Marwa said enforcement alone cannot win the war against drugs, adding that communities, civil society organizations, mental health professionals, and the media must remain active partners in prevention, public awareness, rehabilitation, and reintegration.
The fight against drug trafficking and substance abuse was never going to be won by enforcement alone. It is won in the communities where NGOs quietly walk young people back from the edge of addiction. It is won in the newsrooms where journalists chose to tell the difficult stories, the stories of trafficking routes, of rehabilitation, of families rebuilding, even when those stories were not the easiest to tell. Our partners in civil society and the media have been the multiplier effect on everything this agency does.
At the ceremony, more than 200 officers were honored for exceptional performance, while commanders received special recognition for outstanding leadership and operational achievement. For the first time, the NDLEA also recognized 7 mental health organizations and 8 media platforms for their contributions to the campaign against substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking. Nafisa Baba for Skyliine News.
The Niger State Police Command says it has arrested 147 suspects in operations targeting criminal hideouts and alleged thuggery. Police said 139 suspects were arrested during the raid in Suleja and neighboring areas following a report of violent rally. The command alleged that some suspects were armed and involved in the attacks and robbery during the incident. The police said investigations are ongoing, with the operations aimed at recovering weapons and restoring security in affected communities. The Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening collaboration with security agencies in the fight against insecurity, disinformation, and other emerging national security threats. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, made this known during a meeting with the Special Advisor to the President on Homeland and Security, Adeyinka Famadewa, who led a delegation to the ministry in Abuja. Again, Nafisa Baba has the reports.
Welcoming the delegation, the Special Advisor to the President on Homeland Security highlighted the importance of information management, public education, and effective communication in addressing the country's security challenges. He explained that the visit was aimed at establishing a stronger and more structured working relationship between the Homeland Security Office and the Ministry of Information and National Orientation. He also noted that information has become a critical component of national security, particularly at a time when the country is confronted with disinformation, artificial intelligence-generated content, and other emerging threats.
I want to say that today, public education is a key function and a key capability of homeland security. Unlike before, public information or public education is not just about the media. We are focusing on more things beyond the shooting. We are trying to build resilience of the people. We have 4 core priorities for now. Number 1 is to increase and establish a unified national intelligence and surveillance program. No space of land in Nigeria should be left unmonitored. Secondly, and very close to this, is to improve the border security, make efforts and put in place measures to improve border security, because we all know that a lot of the problems we have are transnational. Some of these people, they move in and out our borders.
He outlined key priorities of the Homeland Security Office, including the development of a unified national intelligence and surveillance system, strengthening border security, improving the tracking of criminal activities, and establishing effective protocols for information sharing and emergency response. On his part, Minister of Information and National Orientation described the visit as significant, noting that the ministry has an important role to play in helping Nigerians understand the mandate and responsibilities of the Homeland Security Office. Muhammad Idris said no single security agency or level of government has successfully tackled insecurity alone, calling for stronger coordination among the armed forces, security agency, government institutions, and citizens.
There is now greater coordination between security agencies and also better engagement with communities, with citizens, wherever they are in this country, so that we can fight this all together. This is a situation that is almost 2 decades old now, roughly, but we are seeing now, light at the end of the day, that we are moving in a direction that will ultimately take us out of this critical situation that we are all in.
He further highlighted the importance of credible information in combating security, warning that fake news and misinformation could undermine security operations and create unnecessary fear within society. He noted that the ministry and its agencies are prepared to support the Homeland Security Office through strategic communication, public education, crisis communication, and information dissemination. The Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation also stated that effective communication and collaboration remain essential tools in the collective effort to build a safer and more secure Nigeria. Nafisa Baba for Skyliine News.
The Nigerian military has intensified operations against Lakurawa and other armed groups operating across parts of the Northwest. Troops are conducting offensive operations aimed at dismantling terrorist networks and preventing them from establishing bases in vulnerable communities. The military says the renewed campaign is part of efforts to restore peace and enable residents to return to normal economic activities. More stories after the break. Please do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us and welcome back. Now we move to business of the day. We start with President Bola Tinubu, who says Nigeria's refineries will be revived and made profitable as federal government intensifies efforts to strengthen domestic refining capacity. The president says Nigeria must reduce its dependence on imported petroleum products by maximizing its crude oil resources. The move is expected to boost energy security, create jobs, and reduce pressure on the country's foreign exchange market. Still in business, at least 94 countries have introduced fuel subsidies, price caps, or tax measures to cushion consumers from the global energy crisis. The International Energy Agency says more than 115 countries have introduced measures in response to the energy shock. While several countries are supporting consumers, Nigeria will continue to face rising petroleum and diesel prices. Energy experts are calling for targeted interventions to reduce the impact on households and businesses. More than 2,700 residents in Imogbara, Odo, Ijesha, and Ipirendo in Osun State have benefited from a free medical outreach by Segilola Resources Operating Limited. The two-day program provided consultations, laboratory tests, specialist care, and health education. The company also expanded its Shagun Care program for residents living with chronic diseases to include more comprehensive mental health support. Still on business now, the Nigeria's Deposit Money Bank spent 76.54 billion naira on advertising, promotion, and corporate gifts in its first quarter of 2026. The figure represents 5.85% increase from the 72.65 billion naira recorded during the same period last year. The rise reflects increased marketing activities as banks compete for customers and strengthen their brands. NAFDAC and Ogun State Police Command have strengthened cooperation to regulate the sale and distribution of alcoholic drinks in the state. The move followed a meeting between NAFDAC officials in the state and the Commissioner of Police, Bode Ojajuni. The agency says the partnership is aimed at protecting public health and strengthening enforcement, particularly around sachet alcoholic products. To the private sector now, Dangote Petroleum Refinery is planning an initial public offer in October in what could become one of Africa's biggest IPOs. The company has submitted a $5 billion application to the Securities and Exchange Commission. Although the final size of the offer is yet to be determined, the refinery says the listing will give more Nigerians an opportunity to participate in its growth. The naira has strengthened against the dollar in the official foreign exchange market, following the central bank's easing of restrictions on foreign exchange and government security sanctions by the banks. The CBN has also opened access to its discount window, a move expected to improve liquidity and support stability in the financial market. To oil now, OPEC says Nigeria's economy expanded by 3.9% year-on-year in the first quarter of 2026. The growth was supported by steady oil production and ongoing economic reforms. OPEC says improved macro stability and recovering private sector activities and increased domestic refining capacity are strengthening the country's economic outlook. Still on oil. Oil recorded a trade surplus of $3.46 billion in April, helped by a significant decline in the country's import bill. The central bank says the value of imports fell by 18.7% during a period, contributing to the improvement in Nigeria's external trade position. The development provides a positive indicator for the economy, although concerns remain over inflation and household purchasing power. More stories after the break. Please do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now we move on to sports. It starts on a sad note that Nigerian Super Falcons will miss the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup for the first time after losing 2-1 to South Africa in Thursday's crucial WAFCON playoff in Casablanca. Temi and Refioli Jane scored for South Africa before Christie pulled one back for Nigeria from the penalty spot in added time. The defeat ends Nigeria's record of appearing at the Every Women's World Cup since the competition began in 1991. Still on the Super Eagles now, the Super Falcons head coach Justin Madugu is facing growing pressure in the following Nigeria's failure to qualify for a 2027 Women's World Cup. Madugu says he is not afraid of losing his job despite the disappointment. While the Nigerian football community continues to debate the team's performance and the direction of the women's national team, we move to the Flying Eagles, where the Nigerian Flying Eagles have also suffered disappointment after losing 4-1 to Burkina Faso in the final of the WAFU Zone B Under-20 Championship. The defeat ended Nigeria's hopes of reaching the 2027 FIFA Under-20 World Cup and adds to the difficult period for the country's national team. Arsenal and Manchester City will meet in the 2026 FA Community Shield on Sunday as the traditional curtain raiser to the new English football season. The match will be played at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, with both clubs using the fixtures to test their squads and ahead of the Premier League campaign. Still on the English League, the new English Championship season gets underway today, marking the return of competitive football in England ahead of Premier League's opening weekend. The championship is expected to provide another closely contested campaign, with clubs battling for promotion to the top flight and others fighting to avoid relegation. With that, we move to entertainment right now. We start with Wizkid. The Afrobeat superstar Wizkid is set to headline the opening night of this year's Dirty December Fest in Lagos. The Grammy winner will perform on December 18th, with the 13-day festival running until December 30th. More than 300 performers are expected to feature across the two stages, with music, food, fashion, and entertainment planned across Lagos. Still on entertainment, late Nollywood Alex Ekubo's final movie, Sweet 16, has arrived in Nigerian cinema. The musical film star Ekubo, alongside Yemi Alade, Messi Aibe, Julius Agu, and Daniel Etim Effiong. The release gives fans another opportunity to see the face of the late actor on screen and celebrate his contributions to Nollywood. Angelica Kidjo is set to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on August 18. The Beninese music icon, will become the first African musician and first Black African performer to receive the honor. The recognition celebrates her decade of long career and contribution to African music and culture. We go internationally now, where the Jonas Brothers are returning as Disney revives the popular camp rock franchise. Joe Nick and Kevin Jonas return as Connectry alongside Demi Lovato, who reprises her role as Mitch Torres. The new movie introduces a new generation of performers and is now streaming on Disney+. Back to Nigeria now. Controversial Nigerian singer Portable has thrown down the gauntlet to Afrobeat superstar Davido, claiming he has more hit songs than the global music star. In a recent video, Portable declared that he is ready to compete with Davido over their respective music catalogs. The street pop singer pointed to his singles and collaboration with artists including Olamide and Skepta, insisting he has delivered hits after hits. Meanwhile, Davido is set to headline his first ever festival in United Kingdom today, as his highly anticipated Davido and Friends concert takes place over London's Crystal Palace Bowl. The Afrobeat superstar will be joined by artists including Omali, Black Sherif, Gabiz, and Moravi. Davido has described the event as his first UK festival and his only outdoor London performance this summer. This is all we have on entertainment. We'll be back after the break. Please do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back. We move to the foreign news now, where Iran has rejected claims by the US President Donald Trump that Washington has full control of the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran insists the strategic waterways remain under its control, while the United States has threatened an indefinite naval blockade around the Iranian port. The escalating dispute is raising fresh concerns over global oil supplies, as the strait is a major route for international energy shipments. To the United States now, the U.S. President Donald Trump envoy and son-in-law Jared Kushner is expected to travel to Israel and Egypt next week for talks on the future of Gaza. The discussions will focus on Washington's plan for Hamas to disarm, the possible withdrawal of Israeli forces, and transition to Palestinian administration. The initiative, however, faces opposition from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu government. Still on Israel, the Gaza ceasefire facing renewed strain after an Israeli drone strike killed a Palestinian and injured another Khan Yunis. The incident comes amid continuing accusation of ceasefire violations, while diplomatic efforts continue to secure a more permanent political and security arrangement for the territory. Still on foreign news now, global oil prices have risen as tensions between United States and Iran intensify over the Strait of Hormuz. Brent crude has climbed to about $87 a barrel, with prices on track for weekly gains of around 4%. Markets are increasingly concerned that prolonged disruption around the key shipping routes could affect global energy supplies. That is all we have for you this afternoon. Thank you for watching the Skyline News. Do have a very wonderful